Friday, the official start of the weekend, and we say welcome to the final edition of the Star Good Morning Show for this week. I am Leonora Jawara, so excited it's the weekend. Well, our African proverb for today says, it is not changing into a lion that is sad, it is getting the tail of a lion. Stories we shall be looking in the program today: a 3-day training workshop for health experts on water management organized by the U.S. Africa Command Environmental Security Program, U.S. government, the U.S. Embassy in Freetown, and their partners, has ended at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown. The government chief forensic pathologist and director, cancer registry, Dr. Simeon Owis-Koroma, has described as challenging the current state of the hospital mortuary and called on the government to do more in order to have well-functional mortuary that will be fit for purpose. With the growth and development of the petroleum unit, Sierra Leone will realize full economic viability of the sector under the current government's new direction. That is according to the Director General, Petroleum Directorate, Timothy Kabar. These stories and more coming up shortly. While with me in the studio is the Public Relations Officer, University of Sierra Leone, Munda Rogers. We will be talking to us on the status of the university. Good morning, Munda. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is mine.
You're welcome. I shall be back with you shortly. But first, let's have a message from our sponsors.
SimCorp allow old and young to make deposit and withdraw cash from their account at any time and anywhere. With Rokel Commercial Bank SimCorp, you can send and receive money at any place and any time. Rokel Commercial Bank don't make life better for we all.
Minutes gone past 9 is the time from our studio clock, and now let's begin with the first news item. The Sierra Leone Water and Public Health Training Workshop hosted by the U.S. Africa Command Environmental Security Program, U.S. government, the U.S. Embassy in Freetown, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the U.S. Geological Survey, as on Wednesday, 21st August, concluded a 3-day training workshop for health experts on water management at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown. Let's have more in this report.
The Sierra Leone Water and Public Health Training Workshop, hosted by the U.S. Africa Command Environmental Security Program, U.S. government, the U.S. Embassy in Freetown and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the U.S. Geological Survey, has commenced a 3-day workshop at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown. The Ministry of Water Resources and the Ministry of Defense will co-host, and participants will include subject matter experts from Sierra Leone, South Africa and the United States. Representing the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Vandy intimated that the objective of the training workshop is to promote cooperation and collaboration between participants.
Yes, the One Health approach is like the international, so to speak, anthem now for approaching epidemics and emergencies. Because of maybe the global change or the global warming, the effect of global warming and global change on the way pathogens are behaving. Now we're having a spillover of pathogens from the wild, from animals, and from the livestock into humans. Like Ebola is one of them, rabies is one of them, Marburg is one of them, Bombali virus is one of them. So because of that experience, we are now saying for us to be better prepared, we need to use the One Health approach to make sure we don't leave any stone unturned. Bringing the Minister of Agriculture, specifically the livestock and the wildlife on board, the environment as well. The Ministry of the Environment is very important because we are all humans and animals are living in the environment. If we are affecting negatively, the environment, it also have to reflect to the type of diseases we get and the type of outbreaks we get.
Carl Rija, Chief Officer of Security Corporation, said that the event includes discussions on board technical topics in water preventive medicine and societal issues. He revealed that The 3-day training exercise on public health emergency response, tabletop exercises conducted by the U.S. Center of Disease Control and Preventions will allow participants to walk through scenarios and discover strengths and weaknesses of current plan.
Yes, absolutely. So this meeting is an opportunity to bring together people that normally don't get to see each other on a day-to-day basis. So we have members of the Joint Medical Unit from the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces Urban Force Barracks that have come down. We have people from the Joint Forces Command on the military. And then from the Ministry of Health side, we've had doctors and administrators that are able to attend. Dr. Bandy from the Ministry of Health gave opening remarks, which were quite excellent. And also several NGOs and other entities that have been able to come out here to Radisson despite their very busy schedules to give some time to work together and learn to develop some frameworks for increasing the cooperation between the non-governmental organizations and different ministries within the government. Our goal is to help Sierra Leone and the government of Sierra Leone and NGOs become the best it can be for its own people, and that is our interest in what we are working towards. So, you know, we're trying to be as much team players and facilitators as we can. We were asked to come in and help facilitate the workshop, and we're happy to be here. The biggest goal is to increase relationships and engagement and cooperation amongst the entities within the government of Sierra Leone, and also to create relationships with some of the U.S. organizations that have come out to support. In my experience, some of the greatest things happen when people are able to just spend some time together and discuss common problems, and then hopefully projects can come from that and potential solutions can come from that in the future. There's a great gathering of people here, and you never know what what 3-4 years down the line will bring out of discussions that happen here today. And so that's the goal, is to kind of get an idea of projects that can be undertaken, what different organizations are doing in the country at the time.
Over the 3 days, participants will collaboratively identify opportunities to improve interagency cooperation, enhance the institutional framework, and strengthen capacity to respond to water-related public health emergencies in Sierra Leone.
11 minutes gone past 9 is the time from our studio clock, and you're still watching the Star Good Morning Show. Munda Rogers is the Public Relations Officer of the University of Sierra Leone. Today we are discussing the status of the university. Good morning again, Munda.
Thank you so much for accommodating me.
You're welcome. First, take us through the state of affairs of the university. What is the current status?
Well, the current status of the University of Sierra Leone, which encompasses the 3 campuses, including Frabe College, College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, and the Institute of Public Administration and Management, is on a very sound footing, so to speak. The reason being, with the year under review, 2018-2019 academic session, management of the university has been able to really achieve a lot, so to speak. Meaning that when we received the new management under the Vice Chancellorship and Principalship of Professor Fudisa, he embarked on the investment of a web portal. The web portal currently now serves as the main channel where administrative processes as well as academic processes are being processed in a way. What does this imply? Over the years, we had a lot of human relation or contact which normally marred our operations as a university. But with the introduction of the web portal, now, in fact, we are currently doing our admission process for next academic year, the 2019-2020 academic session, online. We are currently reviewing our curriculum. We are making sure that the academic staff of the university brace up tightly enough to make sure that they execute their functions to meet the timeline. And we are not very much unaware of the fact that the University of Sierra Leone lost the normal calendar of events over the years because of activities including Ebola, which actually struck the country. So that serves as one of the frustrating issues that made us not to observe the normal calendar of events. But now we are coming back to normalcy, which is so good for us, meaning that the 2019-2020 academic session is going to commence in October first week. We expect students to register. Freshmen who are now undergoing the process of admission haven't been offered admission letters to register within the second and third week. And moving forward, the university has also done its best to make sure that we even do all what it takes, possibly enough, which we have already succeeded in doing, to make sure that we reinstate students into residence. Frabi College is a residential campus, and over the years, students have not been benefiting from such facility because of the dilapidated nature of the hostels over the year under review. But then it has now been fixed up. We embarked on a huge procurement of furniture and beddings, and currently as we speak, they are now being fixed up in the respective rooms, so students will be in a better, learning environment come next academic year.
Okay, you talk about the university portal. I believe it was introduced in May this year. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how beneficial is that innovation for students and staff of the university?
In the first place, it has enhanced our planning capacity for us to be within timeline on our operations. Mm-hmm. Because in the University of Sierra Leone, what we do normally is all based on a proper planning and a critical approach towards whatever we do by way of providing our services. So when we even introduce the web portal system by way of the admission process, the timeline has not been tampered with, because when we are going paper-based, we'll close admission, and within a week or two, you have other factors coming in to say reopen and extend. Now you have no one to contact. And then the prospective applicants, really made use of this process judiciously, and now we are within the time frame of making sure that we process them for admission. Even with regards to human resource management, over the years, staff of the university were not keep attuned with their time of leave or even moments that they need to be out of work schedule and the like. But now, within a shortest possible time, the web portal being so automated to a standard, it serves as a notification to each and every staff member, because we are all connected enough. For instance, Munda Rogers is to go on leave on so date, the notification will come up and you get yourself ready for that. Because when we established or reactivated the Human Resource Directorate with the directorship of Dr. Abdul Bawa, who is now the Human Resource Director of the university, he has been able to make sure that all of these policies that really governs the administrative as well as academic staff of the university is now put straight. Records have been put straight, and then notifications, concerns, as well as even our level of productivity has now been so achieved to the point that we have no doubt in doing our daily processes. It helps us as well in line of planning. There are times when we normally put out notice, especially with regards to student registration, at the start of every academic year or semester, as the case may be. Students hardly, identify themselves with the process of registration, and registration is key. It is only when you register in the university, then we'll be able to plan with regards to how we can be able to handle the welfare of students on campus. But now, moving forward, we are now going to introduce the registration of students online. So continuing students must be in readiness to make sure that they comply with that. Because once we start in October, we put out a notice, period of 2 weeks, you must fulfill the payment of fees, you register online, do all the necessary processes. And for freshmen who will be joining the university community, we expect them to pay in full, upfront, do their registration online. Because while we are doing this, we want to capture every detail of our students on campus. There are times we normally become very much confused as to even the number of students that we have. All that we have now relegated into history, because the web portal has been able to, capture the data of every student. So that is the manner in which we are really enjoying such a huge
investment. That has been one of the challenging tasks for students. You see them queue from morning till evening, waiting for the registration officials. So as that is the burden on students.
Quite enough so. You can even be anywhere, and do your registration. When once you have access to, to internet connectivity, you do your registration, you come on campus in record time, and make sure that, because even we are now preparing training for our academic staff as to how they can be able to engage students online by way of even, submitting assignments, even providing tutorials for them. And the web portal system has also advanced our extramural programs in the university. And there are times, we don't really have to encourage regular students right through, because some people are working and they need time in their office and like. But with the introduction of the web portal, we are now going robust measures are now being taken place to make sure that we encourage students to even pursue programs online.
Okay, now let's look at performance and achievements, even though you've highlighted some, because over the years, especially for Frabi College, which was described as the Athens of West Africa, we've seen its decline in so many ways, and it has not been a good thing to say about the university. So how can you describe the performance and achievements, and what are some of the transformations made so far?
You see, if you visit Frabi College campus for now, one would describe the whole environment to be very calm and quiet. You see, when rules and regulations are being compromised in an organization like a university, definitely you have to experience such setbacks. But the determined, aspect of the current management has really made students to comport themselves. Students are really complying, and as well as the entire work environment is now being fixed up in a manner that it really suits a learning environment. Aside the rehabilitation of the hostels, we have additional blocks that are as well coming up to match up with the increasing number of enrollments in the university, especially at Frabi College. You can as well take up such kind of determination to make sure that the lecture rooms are now being expanded, by way of creating more facilities so that students can be in a very conducive learning environment. The environment is quite safe, and the level of compliance by way of making sure that the student-lecturer relationship or student-administration relationship is quite advanced. We don't have, as a public institution, our doors are always open, and the students are really enjoying the kind of way we are interacting with them. That even helps us the more to clamp down on these aspects of examination malpractice. Over the years, we know students have been, tricky enough to beat the system by way of getting through their way during the course of examination, or even during the course of their stay in the university. And at the end of the day, no one will hold them accountable. But with the kind of connectivity that we are now operating through, everyone is quite concerned about a student, and every student is quite au fait with what is expected of him, and as well as what is expected from us as management to offer them the best services which we are determined to do. So all of this put together means that Frabi College, like you said, has been dwindling in terms of performance. No, we are very much aware of that, and as a research institution, being part of our core mandate to provide teaching, research, and community service, we also research on ourselves. So we identify the problems, and we are addressing the problems so as to be able to make sure that we put out nothing but the best.
Okay, you've identified the problems. Well, what are some of those problems identified?
Well, the problems over the years is that the university doesn't really have the right to disadvantage whosoever has the requisite requirements to gain admission. And what does that imply? We also need to expand on our facilities. By making sure that all those who are qualified and want to pursue programs in the university, we create the necessary environment and convenience for them. So that was a problem. How can we be able to match, our resources through that is generated internally to the increasing enrollment in the university? And I must tell you, honestly enough, as of now, by next academic year, you really realize that everything is going to be within a convenient pace of operation, because management is moving forward to make sure that some of these problems that has reneged our operations over the years are being addressed.
So what was the challenge in terms of accommodation over the years? Because that has always been a great challenge for universities in Sierra Leone. What has been the problem? Well,
the problem, emanated from the untoward activities of students. And suddenly, I will recall it was even during our own time when we were students. When students really take rules and regulations into their own hands, and at the end of the day, monitoring and supervision or giving directives, management not being too robust about it, they take advantage, and chance behavior normally led to that kind of activity. We all know that even within the recent, recent time, we are given an instruction from the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education to reinstitute student governance in all our campuses. We started the process, But as soon as we went to Frabi College, students do not still tend to be within the frame of expectation. So what do? Students are not managing us, we are managing them. And their own welfare and their concerns and their purpose of existence in the university, we cannot compromise it for mundane things. So we are taking tougher stance to make sure that, whatever serves as a guiding principle in the university on the part of students, that's why we provide for them orientation, we provide matriculation, and other fora where we discuss with them, where they need to express their concern to us, and we take all of these concerns. So the activity of students over the years led to the dilapidated nature of the hostess facilities in the university. And management was so tough enough to take a stance by way of putting ban and moving every student on campus. And for close to a decade now, students have not been enjoying that facility. But through the hard work that has been done over the years by making sure that we rehabilitate as well as add additional blocks for students, we want to believe now we are taking a new measure to make sure that whosoever is in the residence in the first place, you have to be a fully paid up and registered student. You have to secure an admirable grade point, because we don't want to go and keep students there who might want to use the environment for other purposes. Our eyes are going to be very much open by way of making sure that they will follow up on their activities. All of these put together are new measures that we are now going to put so that we can protect the property of Frabi College or the University of Sierra Leone.
All right, rehabilitating the hostels is good. What about all the facilities on campus for the students, like water, electricity? Has there been improvements?
Well, in fact, the rehabilitation exercise at Frabi College captured all of those necessities. Electricity, water supply, every connection that deals with that has been fully rehabilitated. If you move through Frabi College, you really sense that work is almost always on, and as we speak, every aspect of concern that relates to the provision of basic amenities for students on campus as well as academic staff who are on residence on campus is now being fixed up. Even the quarters are rehabilitated to suit the convenience for our administrative staff who are on campus, the students as well, and all of these things are now put in place so that we can see how we can improve on our performance and productivity.
Okay, is Munda Rogers is the PIO for the University of Sierra Leone. I'll come back to you shortly, but first, let's take another insert. Now, the government chief forensic pathologist and director of cancer registry, Dr. Simeon Owis-Koroma, has described as challenging the current state of the hospital mortuary and called on the government to do more in order to have well-functional mortuary that will be fit for purpose. Judge Elliot Tam takes up the story.
The government chief forensic pathologist and director, Cancer Registry, Dr. Simon Owis-Koroma, has described as challenging the current state of the hospital mortuary and called on the government to do more in order to have well-functional mortuary that will be fit for purpose. Responding to media interview on the status of the hospital mortuary, Government Chief Forensic Pathologist Dr. Simon Owis-Koroma said, as a Sierra Leonean, he is very sad about the ugly situation in the mortuary. He also told journalists and spoke about the complete absence of infrastructure, pathological equipment, protective gears for mortuary attendants, furniture, a limited space, and defected cool room. He further assessed the mortuary situation as pathetic due to the fact that, he said, it cannot preserve human remains for a long period. He discussed on the importance to preserve the dignity and privacy of the dead.
Well, forensic is medico-legal. It's about investigating scientifically the causes of death. We investigate deaths in two ways. There is the autopsy, where you physically open up a corpse or a dead body you suspect to have died from, say, violent means or suspicious manner or unexplained deaths and many things, as we do have rapes and all these young babies now being penetrated, physical as well as sexual abuses. So we have to fight crime. And in so doing, you must have a powerful forensic laboratory. And you do not do it only by doing postmortems, because the word is called autopsy. You have to scientifically prove the cause of death. This is on a very serious tone. We are killing ourselves. We are not honest with ourselves. We know the truth and we are not fighting to stand. Please, those who can help us, who can help the experts, who can even help government to make this country a beautiful place to stay. A country where investors will come and will not be afraid of this type of behavioral patterns we are engaged in. Killings, murdering ourselves, breaking our throats, cutting our throats, shooting ourselves. So I'm asking everybody to come on board, to help, not only the pathologists, but there are other people also who are in a similar position to fight crime. It is dangerous. It could be me today, and tomorrow could be any of you watching me. Provide the facilities, the necessary things for us to work hard. We are all Sierra Leoneans, we are all nationalistic, but one is often led into believing that we do not like each other. So let us stop, let us think twice and try to help the country so that we can all live happily in this Sierra Leone.
The admin, Senior Camara, who doubled as the chroma technician, highlighted some of the challenges they are facing in the mortuary, ranging from manpower, infrastructure, pathological equipment, protective gears for mortuary attendants, furniture, limited space, and many more.
With the capacity of the mortuary, first, because we talk about Sierra and national and mortuary, it is a shame to the government forget only one functional mortuary into the entire country. Enough for B. We need for decentralized mortuary services throughout this country. One thing about me, my brother, we need land sense in this country. Ebola don't come, then tell you say from the body, now the virus they multiply. Ebola come, the past government able create another mortuary facility. Come to this present government, the same mortuary, now the same continue. The capacity not big. What you think in terms of this mortuary, now they will get all unidentified body. For every month I go tell you I go get past 35 unidentified body. As I talk to you presently, I get more than 30 something unidentified body within inside that cold room. Being here at the government mortuary, everybody will die. Not hospital, we die in hospital, we don't know about identify. Now they count you. And also, when you think in terms of their unnatural cause of death, all anybody now they do postmortem before they take her for burial or take any other side for go keep her for that burial. So the capacity of the mortuary, let's start with the structure first. You know, they in place, the need for improving the mortuary facility, the need for decentralizing the mortuary facility throughout this country.
For Star News in Freetown, George Elliott Sam reporting.
Many thanks to George Elliott Sam for putting that report together. You're still watching the Star Good Morning Show, and Munda Rogers is here with me in the studio. Munda, let's look at the online application process for admission into the University of Sierra Leone. Since the inception of this innovation, how much has it impacted on the enrollment strategy for potential applicants?
Well, it has actually done us very well, as well as the prospective students who are now making use of the facility. You know, we've actually closed, the process, online admission, and currently the admin officers who are in charge of admissions are working. You go on Frabi College campus, they are now sorting out. You go to Commerce, they are doing likewise, as well as IPAM. So ending the week, down the line, or by next week, we'll have to inform all those who applied with regards to their status. And we're not going to do that manually, we're going to still implement it online. That was why, as part of, there was a whole segment on the application package which requires students to give details including email addresses and the telephone numbers. we are making do of the system to make sure that we communicate with them and keep them abreast with latest developments in line of the admission process. So whilst we are doing all of this, the students themselves, or the prospective students themselves, have been able to realize that the university is moving forward, because it has been a hue and cry over the years under review that the University of Sierra Leone must step up its operations by way of going online. The University of Sierra Leone is not moving with the current trend. So that's why I said, whilst we are very much aware of all of those lapses, that's why we are now taking measures to make sure that we really standardize our operations. And the university, through the ideas that we used to share in our meetings and the like, it came out clearly that we also need to instill the aspects of quality assurance in whatever we do. So the management has established a whole directorate for quality assurance. In fact, my own unit is under the quality assurance as we speak, under the supervision of a whole officer that was employed to make sure that on the aspect of academic performance, there is quality in it in terms of delivery. Even on the aspect of administrative processes, there is quality in it in terms of delivery. Because those are the only things that we are now going to make sure that it keeps us within the frame of expectation, even to match with international colleagues.
Because it's becoming a very competitive thing. We're seeing other universities in Africa going up the ladder. They are providing excellence. And what are some of the reforms our university here are doing? You
see, the reform is on a broad-based approach, definitely, because taking it from our human resource management aspects, taking it to student welfare and control, taking it on the aspects of our international partners and links, it gives us a fundamental stage for us to make sure that we thrive, so that we can match up with contemporary standards as far as university operations are concerned. That's why in a recent move by the management, we are now even going into signing of MOUs with our brothers and sisters who are in neighboring countries. Like recently, we even received a delegation from the Amadou Dieng University from the Republic of Guinea. They came here on a fact-finding mission and to see how best they can be able to get through our processes, learn from us, and we share all of these skills and expertise. And on our own part, when we made a visit there sometime last month, we were able to collaborate with them strongly, because it's a university in Guinea that has a very strong ICT system in their operations. And we are now going to make sure that we connect them with our engineering and architecture faculty, where students by next academic year, they will be exposed to even the production of computers. And instead of for us as a university bidding for computers from other sources, we will now have our own students producing all of this. So these are all the things we are doing. Apart from that, even with regards to staff exchange, over the years when the University of Sierra Leone was established, starting from Frabi College, there was what refers to as exchange of programs, where students, especially in the faculty of arts or pursuing language studies, right, that are much interested in learning, francophone languages, they normally go to francophone countries for a semester or academic year, where they will pursue their programs and assessed, and their grades are sent back to the host university and for subsequent promotion. That's all going to be reactivated now. So students at the language department of Frabi College will now have a semester like in Guinea, where they will be exposed to the French language and culture as well. And we will also have the capacity through the MOU that students from Guinea will have to come to University of Sierra Leone, where they will be tuitioned on English language and also our culture. So these are all the things we are taking as part of the reforms process, so that we can be able to achieve the optimum goal of the university.
All right, let's look again at I'm still on the excellence of a university here. Now we see, I'm taking example in Nigeria. They've got loads of university, and they have lots and lots of different programs. Students can go and learn and become better somebody in the society. Unlike us here, we only have a few. Everybody wants to do law, to read medicine, engineering, and all that. Is there any measures being put in place to introduce new courses so that it can be a competitive world?
Yes, like I mentioned, with regards to our curriculum review process, which is ongoing, that is for us to match with contemporary, academic standards. We are also introducing new programs like architecture. Before this time, we only have a faculty of engineering, but architecture has now been added to the whole structure of the faculty, and the students are now going to start pursuing architecture programs under the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture. That is quite a very, admirable move that the Dean of the faculty, Associate Professor Kele Baru Mansare, embarks on through his partners like Engineers Without Borders and other friends across the diaspora that has passion for the advancement of engineering and architectural work in the university. Aside that, even in the area of medicine, we are now seeing that students of the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, which are constituent of the university, are now in very good connections. Quite recently, we received about a dozen and more professors who are specialized in the area of neurology, and the students of commerce benefited from 2 weeks exercise in country here, because the professors who came from the United Kingdom, United States, they were all here with them. They have been able to expose them on a very broad scope of neurological sciences and their principles as it requires for their upward movement in the university. So we are taking all of this so that at the end of the day, we will not renege behind, but rather we will step up our operations, because the human resource capacity of this country definitely is benched on the productivity that the university does. And in as much as we want to transform society, means that we also have to research on ourselves, being the academic service providers, so that we can impact society.
Okay. Now, another challenge for students is the issue of transportation. That has always been a concern for students. Is there any measures being put in place to curtail that?
Yes, transportation has been a perennial problem, but then past administration made a very good move by procuring, buses that were very fit for purpose to navigate the hills of Rabi College, because students are not in residence. But in spite of the fact that students are now going to be in residence, the current management has even issued out invitation for bids for the procurement of buses, additional buses, because when students will be in residence, they will have to be coming downtown, be it at night or during the day, to do their, prepare themselves and the like. So we are now moving stepping up in the aspects of transportation, so that students will have an easy flow of movement from campus to downtown, from downtown to campus. So by the start of the academic year, definitely we'll have to see new fleets flying the routes of Mount Ore, apart from the old ones that in fact we just want to put aside and bring in the new ones.
All right, that's a good news. Now let's look at another issue, the issue of discipline. And we've seen a ban on the Students' Union election. Is there any plan to lift that ban?
Well, we are always ready, provided that the students actually, demonstrate the sense of reasoning that we expect from them. Because the essence of being a student in the university is for you to make sure that you work within the set standards and rules. If you deviate, definitely management will not we shy at you, and we take measures that will not suit such kind of action that you want to take as a student. So when we made the attempt, or when we kicked off the process, students were not able to really conform, and therefore we cannot waste time in that kind of in a minor process like that, leaving the academic calendar to be fulfilled, leaving the other administrative jobs that will be done at the benefit of the students. So we were able to put a hold on it. But whilst we are moving on to next academic session, if they still continue to come up with the expected standards that we really admire, that will lead management to admire, we have to go on. For IPAM, they have their structure going on. For commerce, they have their structure going on. So these are all going to be channels that students of Rabi College will have to learn from, because we are under the same act and we are operating as a single management. So as a constituent, we want to make sure that our practices goes round our respective campuses, whereby students must see themselves as one, and therefore the rules that govern students at IPAM commerce is the same rule that governs students at Trabi College. But if you go and major in the minor, definitely we'll take the reverse, because we want to make sure that we bring about students that will really be for that will be fit for purpose.
What about the students-lecturer relationship? Many people have different views, different opinions about students-lecturer relationship. What's your own take on that?
I normally interact with a good number of students on campus as well as the academic staff. I'm almost always available, you know, in their programs as well as meetings. I have been able to convince myself that there is a very admirable interaction, because I've seen situations where students normally, you know, push forward their grievances or their concerns. That's why we have a whole directorate, you know, that is responsible for that. That Dr. Fatima Tataki is the head of that directorate. That's a guidance, counseling, you understand, and providing other academic advisory for students. So they normally come up with their concerns, and then with the sense of openness that we operate with in the university, we take some of these concerns and we have been finding solutions to almost all of them, meaning we have improved, you know, tremendously on the aspect of student-lecturer relationship. In fact, that made us to succeed in this aspect of examination malpractice. Over the time, students don't normally study or prepare themselves for exams. But honestly enough, this examination that has now concluded at Trabi College, all those who, you know, took chance to, you know, implement the process of malpractice, definitely the rules are now being set, and we are going to met the rules out accordingly to suit their convenience. So at the end of the day, it will serve as a good example for others. Even down at IPAM, we have a whole committee set up to investigate those who have been perpetrating examination malpractices, and we are going to take the standard, you know, measure that will suit such kind of offense. Because in academia, what makes us survive is examination. In fact, in education generally, what creates the difference between an ordinary man and those in academia is examination. Or else everyone is educated in his or her own right. But what keeps us distinctive from the rest of the other aspects of education is examination. And we cannot continue to compromise that. Because if we do that, at the end of the day, the products that we send out, you understand, will not be able to be up to their task. And we don't want to make sure, well, we don't want to have products that will not be fit for purpose in any system or organization that they will find themselves at the end of graduation. So we are taking very serious attention on that, and we are going to put out all the necessary measures that really keep students away from that. And now that sense of reasoning has started to show up, because it has now reduced drastically.
Okay. So earlier you mentioned the rehabilitation of the dilapidated condition of the university. But where is that funding coming from? Is it from the government, or are there donor partners?
Yes, we had a huge intervention from Badia, you know, over time, and by way of funding, as well as counterpart funding from the government of Sierra Leone. So both, you know, organizations have been able to do their best to aid us through the process, and that's what we are enjoying. Apart from that, through the internally generated funds that we also accrued from the university, we are also doing other activities with it. For instance, if you now, over the years, you realize that IPAM was almost found in every aspect of this town, where students normally access lectures. But they are now on a centralized campus at Tower Hill. Each and every student of IPAM is now accessing lectures and other services at Tower Hill, which is quite good, right? And you go to Trabi College as well, you now see that all the other areas where you see that facilities were not really up to standard are now being looked into, so that we can see how best we can provide the requisite services.
What about accommodation facility for students and staff?
Well, accommodation facility for students and staff, you know, is moving on. It's moving on because apart from the rehabilitation work, there is also provision for additional blocks. Like for the Beethoven or Latte Hyde axis, where the female hostels are located, there is another huge block that is almost near completion within that axis, which will have to increase the residential facility for female students on campus, as well as the male hostels. So these are all the actions that are now being put in place. For lecturers, like I said, the quarters are now being under fast rehabilitation process, you know, relocation of lecturers, so that we can rehabilitate, the facilities so that at the end of the day, they can be able to have a very convenient environment where they will work, and as well as their families. So all of those human concerns are put in place, because as a University of Sierra Leone, we want to make sure that we do our best to keep up to our standards.
Right, indeed. Well, let's take a final insert for today. Now, the Director General, Petroleum Directorate, Timothy Kabah, has expressed optimism that with the growth and development of the petroleum unit, the country will realize full economic viability of the sector under the current government's new direction. Here's the report. Commenting on the state of the sector, the Director General, Petroleum Directorate, Timothy Kabah, said he has fully integrated views of stakeholders on the value chains in the oil and gas sector. Timothy Kabah expressed optimism that with the growth and development of the petroleum unit, the country will realize full economic viability of the sector under the current government's new direction. He intimated that the offshore waters of Sierra Leone contain proven petroleum systems, the understanding of which is supported by an inventory of extremely high-quality geological and geophysical data, with much of this data being made available for the first time. He furthered that the country's fourth licensing round has granted significant levels of interest from the international oil and gas industry, as revealed by Jonathan Kopos.
What we've been able to do is to restore trust, confidence, and also to sell an opportunity that has clear vision and direction. So the industry has responded to our clarity and our sincerity, and I think that is what is now magnetizing companies that have got pronounced corporate integrity. They're now associating themselves with our opportunities here because what we're offering, the landscape that we've created, screens against their organizational expectation. So that is why we're now seeing in people engaging us, people bringing discussions of coming to Sierra Leone. So we're quite optimistic. And I must say this, if Sierra Leone is to progress, if Sierra Leone is to get in the desired investment that it requires, every sector in this country, including the oil and gas, should serve as a gold standard, which other countries will emulate from. In the oil and gas sector, that is what we're trying to do, to provide a very competitive landscape for investment.
As the new procedures group in Ghana in 2018, both the head of the Ghana National Petroleum Company, Professor Sapong, and the Director General, Petroleum Directorate, Timothy Kabah, agreed to enter into a binary relationship to bring together industry players from across the continent, which include international oil companies, national oil companies, oil and gas service companies, independent oil companies, oil and gas financiers, regulators, and industry commentators, among other stakeholders, to discuss trends, innovations, and strategies towards maintaining a lead in the volatile oil and gas sector. Following the suspension of the country's fourth licensing round in September this year, the Sierra Leone Petroleum Directorate has embarked on an aggressive industrial engagement in a bid to stimulate investment interest in the country's basin. Since his appointment as Director General of the Sierra Leone Petroleum Directorate, Timothy Kabah has engaged in serious efforts to rebrand the face of the Directorate into an institution capable of delivering on its mandate. He is an oil and gas professional with stronger educational background in oil and gas engineering, leadership management, and strategy, combined with viable successes in oil and gas industry. He is pretty much familiar with the challenges in the oil and gas industry.
I think that's a comparative advantage in that we have functional, functional advanced inventory of geological and geophysical data stored in data rooms in Sierra Leone and in the UK. I think this is a one-stop shop where investors come into the country, visit the data room, look at the data that we have, and what it does, it quickens the period of decision making, and it also gives a precursory knowledge to what is expected of the subsurface geology. And like I said, this is a comparative advantage. That is, of course, a blessing to Sierra Leone.
Compiled by Abdul Rahman Kamara, read by Leonora Jawara.
9:54 is the time from our studio clock, and let me round up with my guest. Munda, you highlighted reforms made, some of the achievements made in the university, but only to the fact that University of Sierra Leone, there's nothing, it has not been of great excellence, we can say. There's been so many loopholes, there's been so many challenges. With all these, how does the university attract foreign students?
Well, you know, Frabi College or University of Sierra Leone has an admirable record for, you know, attracting foreign students over the years. But that dwindled down with time, but all of such measures are now being put in place so that we can attract foreign students. Because for a university to attract foreign students, you have to make sure that you do all of these corrections, you improve on your facilities. As far as we are moving on, we have now been able to really attract a good number of foreign students. Currently, statistics, especially at the School of Postgraduate Studies, shows that we have up to 40 foreign students that are pursuing respective programs, even up to doctoral level. We have 2 doctoral candidates from Republic of Liberia. We have 2 postgraduate master's students from the Gambia, and we also have a good number of others that are from the sub-region that are now currently with us in the university pursuing their postgraduate programs. All of this emanates from the fact that we have now been able to rebrand our university. We have been able to sell out our university so as to be able to attract foreign students, and that will have to be on an increasing enrollment, definitely. In fact, records have shown that this is the first time that the School of Postgraduate has conducted a matriculation ceremony exclusively for postgraduate students, because the matriculation ceremony signifies that we need to expose them to our culture, to our practices as a university. That has been conducted over a period of time ago, and the students are with us. They are happy. They are pursuing their cause, and believe you me, they so appreciate, because I normally interact with them, the kind of academic rigors that they are exposed to.
So quickly, is there any preparation made for the opening of the university?
Yes, preparations are currently ongoing, because we want to come back to our normal calendar. Over the years, we shift from one session to the other, not being stable and the like. But the actual calendar that was tailored by our predecessors in the university dictates that October, first week October, University of Sierra Leone must commence academic exercise. The first 2 weeks, students use that for registration, and the subsequent week, any registration, academic exercises commences with lectures and the like. So once we are able to capture that, means that convocation or graduation ceremonies are now going to be held in December, which has been the traditional period for the conduct of convocation or graduation in the university. So we are going back to that particular system. So moving forward, we are now going to make sure that whatever we set as a plan emanates from the original calendar of events that was convenient for every student as well as staff in the university. There is actually it normally serves as a difficult period, especially during the rains, to see students going for lectures or taking examinations. By now, they should have been in their homes, right? Convenient enough, preparing themselves for the commencement of the academic year. That was why we were able to cushion up the schedule so that the 2018-2019 session will not have any spillover when we come to the normal calendar of 2019-2020 academic session, which is going to start in October.
So any message for potential applicants?
Well, those who have now identified themselves with the process, let them be very attentive. They have to be ICT wise enough. Let them be checking their emails, and the connectivities or contacts that they gave us. That's what we are going to use to communicate with them, and we wish them the best. But let them just know that the University of Sierra Leone is poised for reforms, and the students have a role to play. Our set standards and rules are fixed. When it comes to the period, haven't obtained the admission package, please encourage yourself to come for orientation. Encourage yourself to be part of the matriculation, because these are the first 2 official sessions that you will have to enjoy by way of exposing yourself to the entire university administration.
All right. Thank you so very much. He is Munda Rogers, the Public Relations Officer of the University of Sierra Leone. Thanks for being part of the Star Good Morning Show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And that's how we end the program for today. Actually, for this week, it has been a great week with you guys. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Leonora Jawara, but don't forget the program returns on Monday with another presenter. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. I leave you with the African proverb. It says, it is not changing into a lion that is hard, it is getting the tail of a lion. Until then, have yourself a wonderful weekend.